S-Word, featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian. And a squad of big-name contributors. The S-Word from talkSPORT.
Hello and welcome to the S-Word, sponsored by Calcium, brought to you by talkSPORT and the talkSPORT S-Word YouTube channel. Good morning to all of our viewers out in the US, and it is happy quarter-final day because we are down to the last 8 of the World Cup. No football yesterday. Master was so upset that he had to take the day off. So I've got the great Ollie Clink alongside me, Will Gavin, live from London. We're going to kick things off by doing our quarter-final team power rankings.
Yeah, it was no football the only reason Master took a day off?
No, he was so hurt after I gave him the beatdown of a life in our debate yesterday, obviously.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Well, then we joined live from Miami by talkSPORT's voice of live football, Adrian Durham. He's also going to be letting us know what he's been eating for breakfast throughout this tournament. The Breakfast Club with Adrian Durham. I'm looking forward to that. Durham's Diner.
Nice.
Is quite a good name for that, I think. And we'll be hearing exclusively from England legend Dan Burn after his heroic performance against Mexico in the Azteca. What a hero!
Are we calling it the greatest sub-appearance for England of all time?
Greatest cameo of all time.
Greatest England cameo. We're going to be returning back to Miami where the great Angelina Kelly will be joining us and updating us on England and Norway fans, how they're enjoying life on South Beach. And then we head off to New York where the great Crook will give us the latest transfer roundup. What are Manchester United doing with their midfield? And what are Newcastle going to do when they've sold all their midfielders? All that coming up as well.
Just put Dan Burn in midfield, mate.
Put Dan Burn in midfield. Plus, we'll bring you tonight's quarter-final matchup between France and Morocco, all coming up on the S-Word.
Yeah, boy.
What was that one? I haven't heard that one before. That was really... Was that me? Oh, right. It was just Ainsley Harriott. It wasn't one of our own.
Yeah, boy.
It's great. A huge fan of that. Ollie, it's a real pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for coming in.
Mate, no problem at all. Love the shirt. Love the... love it. I'm so excited for Saturday. I've booked my plans. I've booked the pub. Monday night was... Monday morning, really, wasn't it? I hear one of the greatest nights I've ever had watching football, I think.
Well, where did you watch it?
I live in South London. I went to a pub in North London, which was about an hour and a half away.
Great.
But the venue was incredible. Put it this way, at full time, my mate went through a table. There was beer everywhere. And honestly, the reason why it's one of my favourite ever experiences watching football wasn't just because of the result, wasn't just because of the performance England put in. It was that sense of togetherness in the nation when you're all leaving and the sun's coming up and it's 5 a.m. and there's, people cycling home with England shirts on and big grins on their face, and the whole nation collectively has been a bit naughty and stayed up all night, and I just love that. I love it so much.
Listen, obviously we are a show that's aimed at North America and our North American soccer fans. Unfortunately, they don't know what it's like to win a round of 16 games, so they don't know that public unity at all. I'm taking shots at Master, he's not even here. But we've got a great lineup of quarter-final games to get into and talk about. We'll preview France-Morocco later tonight in a little bit more depth. I haven't told you about my dilemma on Saturday yet, have I?
Oh, go on.
This is the rookie era of rookie errors, right? This is something came up about 3 months ago where I was offered tickets to quite a specialised event, right? And it's not... We're going to see Hamilton, right? And that's not a specialised thing particularly. It's been running for a long time, 10 years on the stage and everything else. But it's like one of the original cast members is returning. And my wife is a massive theatre nerd. And we managed to get her mum to come down and look after the kids. And so we're going on like a date night to go and see Hamilton on Saturday. No. So here's what's happening. It's not just the two of us. It's not just the two of us. My buddy Adam and his wife Talisa are coming as well. They're like very close friends of ours.
Talisa from N-Dubs?
Yeah, Talisa from N-Dubs, right. Exactly, that Talisa. One of my close friends and his wife are coming as well. We figured it all out. The show runs from 7:30 till 10:15. England kickoff is 10 p.m. We have two options, right?
Go.
Do we do the phones off, get straight in a cab, go back to mine and watch it as live, starting at around 11, so we're about an hour behind the rest of the world? Or we've booked a table in the Greenwood next door to the theatre. Do we either leave at 10:15 and miss the first 15-20 minutes, or The guy who's in it, this guy called Leslie Odom Jr., like for the theatre nerds out there, like other than the final song, he doesn't have a lot to do in the second half of the show. I'm just thinking, we see his big number at about. I've got aisle seats. Do I sneak out with about half an hour of the show left so I get there in time for kickoff?
Will, you support Reading. You must be used to leaving early after an awful performance.
No, sorry, I'm not master. I don't leave football games early.
Good point.
Thank you very much.
Point. But I would go, honestly, I'd go with option 2. And do you know why? Is as much as you can have your phone off and as much as you'll try and not see the result, you will see it. You'll hear it. You will hear cheers. You will hear something. I just don't think in this day and age it's doable.
You don't think
really
a sports blackout is possible?
No, I would go for it. I would go for it. Go and watch it in the pub afterwards. It's a good pub that as well, the Greenwood.
So just sneak in next door though, or am I leaving early?
Oh, you're leaving early, 100%. 100%.
Excellent. I'll go through the.
Good luck selling that to your wife.
I think she won't mind. Honestly,
she stay?
Yeah. Because her and Talisa stay, and me and Adam sneak out and go and watch it. Exactly.
Perfect. No dilemma. There's no dilemma there at all.
Very, very much no Nelly situation here. There is zero dilemma. I like that mentioned that conversation about having the moment spoiled for you. We did talk about this on yesterday's show. How some of us missed the second England goal at the weekend because somebody's TV broke before that second goal went in. And it wasn't because after the first goal I threw beer around. And in fact, actually, I spilled wine on myself during the first goal. That's the kind of bougie evening we were having. But I did realise...
Launching wine a bit.
Producer Sam's flatmate, because he's still the kind of man who lives with other people, was watching the game with his other half upstairs in their room. And at one point, after the Harry Kane penalty, I went out onto their balcony because I wanted to see if, 4 a.m, London, could I hear the crowds? Could I hear people making noise? And what I realised is that they were watching it on iPlayer or something, and we're about a minute behind us. So they've been hearing us celebrate every goal, shout every moment, and basically had the whole game ruined for them all the way through just because they couldn't be bothered to come downstairs and watch it with us. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, that's
incredible.
No, so we're saying no to sports blackout. We're saying watch it in the pub next door.
Yes.
But we're saying sneak out of Hamilton early.
100%.
Fine.
Leave early. And actually, you boo before you leave early. You've got to get one in. You've got to get one in, haven't you?
That's sensational.
Rubbish. Get out. Yeah.
Not good enough. Yes, get myself kicked out. That way my wife can't complain, right?
Perfect. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised, Will, to be honest. You'll have spilt wine on yourself. You'll have been singing through all the songs. And then you can boo and get yourself kicked out early. Get in the pub, watch England win.
Sensational.
Perfect.
Sensational. Also, I managed to get my wife Jay-Z tickets today, and me and producer Sam.
Thanks, mate.
So I
can't wait. Yeah.
There is a spare.
Is there?
You've got work.
Where is it?
Tottenham.
Oh, that's paying for Tonali then.
Yeah.
Don't think I can commit to that.
You can't justify spending £160 on a ticket because you know that it's paying 10 minutes of Tonali's wages. That's what it is.
Honestly, I'm that petty, and you know I am. I'm that petty. I can't do it as a Newcastle fan.
Right, let's do our World Cup quarterfinal power rankings because there are 4 games coming up this weekend that look absolutely sensational for the World Cup. And starting off tonight with France against Morocco. We'll preview that game in more detail a little later on. Spain take on Belgium tomorrow. That's live at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then Saturday, the double-header of Norway against England, Haaland against Kane, plus Argentina taking on the might of Switzerland. Do you and I both have Switzerland in the number 8 spot of our power rankings is my question.
We do, but I still think you don't get this far unless you're a tough nut to crack. You could argue they had an easy group and they did well to top it, but out of all of the groups that you could have been put in, let's be fair, the one with Canada in, that was always going to be a trump card forever, ended up in that group with respect to Canada.
But they should have lost to Canada. Canada played better than them for a huge swathe of that game.
Jesse Marsh.
Yeah,
I'm sick of
Jesse
this.
Marsh would rather be Switzerland. That's what we're saying. Canada should have beaten Switzerland, and they should have beaten Bosnia-Herzegovina, and they should have topped that group and got their home games in Vancouver. Yeah. Jesse, that's your own fault.
Yeah, they didn't.
But Switzerland, they beat Algeria in the round of 32. Mm-hmm. They play, I would say, the second worst game of this World Cup, only behind... Do you know what my number 1 worst game of the World Cup is?
Good question. I don't know.
Australia against Paraguay to finish off the group stages because they played out a West Germany-Austria 1982 0-0 draw. Well,
the worst thing is, Will,
you know what I mean?
I hosted coverage of that game on talkSPORT and I couldn't remember it.
Ridiculous. What a hero. And listen, I'm not denying that the Swiss have got some good players, but you look at the other teams on this list, and it's very difficult to justify them being anywhere.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. They do have some dangerous players, though. Johan Manzambi, who we'll talk about a bit later in our transfer section, who looks like he's on his way to Newcastle at the moment, which means he'll obviously end up in a Liverpool shirt by the start of the season, but he looks very dangerous. Obviously, you've got Bril Mbolo, who always causes a bit of damage at these kind of tournaments. And look at the way they frustrated
future Chelsea midfielder Granit Xhaka, of course.
It might have been, it might have been an awful game. But Colombia are decent. They're a good side.
They're a good side, but they are only a good side. They're not a great side, and they can't score goals. Like, no more than a single goal in a game since the opener, which was against the White Wolves of Uzbekistan, who, were unfortunately, when we're very positive about this expanded tournament overall, Uzbekistan are an example of a team who maybe aren't quite ready for the World Cup stage yet. They can't score goals. So, it was, yes, Argentina-Colombia would be spicier on Saturday night, but I think Argentina would have walked past them. I think Switzerland have got more an opportunity against Argentina than Colombia would have done.
Yes, because you look at the game against Cape Verde, you look at the game against Egypt until the last 10 minutes or so, when a few decisions went their way, obviously, as well. Look,
Why are you bringing that up?
Well, Switzerland, if they could frustrate Argentina for a lot of that game. And you might see quite an interesting result. Look, they've shocked
Granit
teams
Xhaka
before.
Will get himself sent off.
Switzerland have shocked teams before. They have done it, but they are 8th in this list for a good reason.
Who's your 7?
Belgium.
I think that's completely fair.
Yeah.
Sorry to our USMNT fans out there, our USA fans. Yeah, I know, they just absolutely shellacked you 4-1, but that's because you gave them the motivation. That's because you made yourself the villains. That's because you gave them a reason to play. They're dancing to YMCA and doing Trump dances in the dressing room afterwards. The locker room afterwards. Trust me, they brought the smoke that day. I'm not convinced they're a great
Do you know what? I didn't see that performance coming because I thought Belgium had a really mixed start to the tournament. And what was interesting is he actually dropped the big guns, didn't he? He dropped De Bruyne, he dropped Lukaku.
Oh, Rudy Garcia played a blinder.
Absolutely.
He was sensational.
Yeah.
But this team aren't as good as the other teams in this list.
They're not because of that mixed start and just because of the general quality that they've got.
Watch both these teams win at the weekend. Watch Belgium beat Spain and Switzerland beat Argentina, and we have to come back with our tail between our legs on Monday.
I've backed Switzerland, mate. I've backed Switzerland. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I think Belgium and their quality shone through massively in that game. And I do think with the US, I had this chat with Master on this show after they'd won their first 2 games. I just said, look, I know you're getting excited. I know that you're potentially getting a bit carried away here. He was saying that he's going to go on to win it and stuff. And I just said, just wait for the knockouts because some of that quality is going to shine through in some of those other teams. I'll be honest, I didn't think it would be Belgium, but that's what you saw.
He kept asking the question, why us? Shout out to Simon Jordan, who said, I've heard people saying, why us? I don't think any right-thinking adult could actually have a serious adult conversation about the US winning the World Cup. So,
yeah, it's true. It's true.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Guys.
Well done, though. Well done. Round of 16.
So, Switzerland in the 8, Belgium in the 7. We're both agreeing on these. No deviations so far. Who you got in your 6?
I have got Norway in 6.
Ooh, okay.
I've got Norway in 6, which actually feels a bit harsh because I think they've had a fantastic tournament.
Could anyone from 6 upwards win it? Do you think, could Norway win the World Cup?
No. I don't think so. That's why I've got them 6.
Yeah,
I don't think they can win it. I just don't see them. Do you know what it is? More than anything, they could maybe get to the final. Seriously, they could get to the final. They could knock England out. They could knock Argentina out. Do they beat a France? Do they beat a Spain? I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. I think France have too much quality. I don't think Norway have looked perfect at the back. Like, if you look at that game against Brazil, fantastic win. They played really well. They keep the ball really well. Haaland's obviously...
Ivory Coast were very unlucky in that game. Yeah. Brazil, on another day, if they scored that penalty, if they go 2 goals up, it's very unlikely that, that Norway come back in that game, but they made the adjustments and
why
won
did Bruno Guimaraes take that penalty?
Absolute madness. Complete and utter
not a good penalty taker. No. I've seen that as a Newcastle fan.
Apparently he's 4th on their list. Apparently he's 4th on their list. Yeah. Future Arsenal midfielder Bruno Guimaraes. It was a bad day for Arsenal players in general.
It was. Yeah.
All right, we're in agreement. I think Norway, I've got them in 6th as well. But I do think they are better than, Erling Haaland's become the national obsession in America. They think he's the Rob Gronkowski of football. They think he's the reason that they can claim that any athlete, if they were, take anyone from the NBA, take the LeBrons, and if they played football from a young age, they would be better than the rest of the world combined. I'll tell you what, do it. USA, do it right now. Start from this point onwards, make all of your athletes from 12 onwards, like start an academy and bring some of your best athletes you're expecting to have a good future in the NFL, good future in the NBA. Throw your government money behind it. Pay them loads of money so that they don't have to worry about not going to the NFL or whatever they would be doing. And tell me when you would next win the World Cup. When you would win your first World Cup. It's not in 4 years' time, that's for sure. It's not in 8 years' time. It wouldn't be in 12 or 16 years' time. I think it'd be a long, long way after that. It's an absolute nonsense take. But from Norway's perspective, they are more than just Erling Haaland. They have been much better than just Erling Haaland. He's taken all the attention. And yet, as an England fan, who am I fearing come Saturday?
I'm
really
fearing it. And I tell you what it is. We've got our 8 and 7 in Switzerland and Belgium. I think there's a massive gap up to Norway.
That's fair.
That's what I would say.
That's fair.
Who have you got 5?
I got 5. See, you talk about harsh. This feels like the harshest piece of ranking to me, because Morocco should not be the 5th team on this list, really.
Yeah.
And I think there's an argument that they've played better than Spain. I think there's an argument, but Spain have conceded no goals. I think there's an argument that at times they've played better than England, but you look at the quality in the squad, you would fancy England to beat them in a one-off. And that's how I ended up having to do this. I went through the rest of the 5 and I went, who do I fancy to beat who if they faced each other in the final today? The first African nation to reach consecutive quarterfinals, semi-finalists last time out. If they beat France have they beat France tonight? I don't think it's a massive upset. I think if they don't need to go quite to the dark arts as hard as Paraguay did, but I think that they need to make it a game where it's not as open, where Michael Olise can't get on the ball as easily, where Mbappe's not going to be able to show these flashes of magic. Like, they need to be incredibly resolute, strong defensively, get in the trenches a little bit. But they are completely capable of doing that. And then they've got real quality going forward. So they're 5, but man, it's a harsh 5.
Yeah.
You're saying that. If you said Morocco were the 5th best team in the world before the World Cup, I think a lot of people would go, wow.
Yeah, I'd rather be Canada, though.
All right, Jesse.
I'd rather be Canada, for sure. No, but I think the reason, I think you're absolutely right about it not particularly being a shock. Really, which sounds crazy, but if this illustrious France team got knocked out by Morocco, I don't think I'd be absolutely gobsmacked, just because of also the way that Morocco have upset the odds so far at this tournament. They should have beaten Brazil. They should have beaten Brazil. They were far the better side in that game. They knocked out the Netherlands, who cruised pretty much through that group stage and had a very decent team, very decent squad. There were a lot of people's dark horses. Dealt with them. And they've got a sturdiness. They've got a spirit about them. And also, the reason why I think they might cause France a few problems is that they attack down the flanks. And I think if you're going to pick out one weakness of France, it's the fullbacks.
Listen, we are going to talk more about that game later. So let's move on and get through our top 4, because we have taken a lot of time on the bottom 4. Top 4 in at 4.
Go. Argentina.
See, I think it has to be Argentina, because they nearly lost to Cape Verde. They nearly lost to Egypt. It took heroics late on. There's a lot of people like, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, Gianni Infantino's on the phone. They're actually number 1.
Oh, sorry,
Gianni. Apologies.
Yeah. 4.
Yeah, not 4. Not 4.
Fine.
But the point is that for all of the speculation and the nonsense and everything else about a conspiracy theory, of the 4 teams remaining on this list, they have played the 4th best out of them. They've given us 2 of the best games, but you wouldn't fancy them against much better opposition.
No. I think there's, like I say, a bit of a danger against the mighty Switzerland, mate. I really do, because they are going to frustrate them.
I think this is where it gets interesting. So our lists have been identical so far. The 3 and the 2. Are we going to differ here?
Oh, I don't know. Right, I've got at number 3 is Spain.
Okay.
Who have you got?
I've got England number 3.
Have you?
England were number 1 in my power rankings after the first round of group stage games. I think that Spain haven't performed yet up to their best. And honestly, if England met Spain in the World Cup final, I'd fancy England to win it.
That's why I put England above them.
Because Lamine Yamal hasn't shown up yet, because Nico Williams hasn't shown up yet, because I think we're good enough defensively to deal with Arthur. And I think that our strength matches their strength. And in that situation, I would fancy us to break them down and get the single goal. I think it's possibly the worst final of all the possible finals that could be, that we could project at this point. And yet, if you haven't conceded a single goal in the tournament so far, even if you've not faced great opposition, I think it's harsh to be any lower than 2. So I've gone England, then Spain. And England have had our hearts in our mouths, have given us, like, Spain haven't had a Ghana-type performance yet. Actually, no, they did. They had Cape Verde, didn't they? So,
but then again,
maybe I do like England at 2.
Then again, no one beat Cape Verde. No one beat Cape Verde. But also, I think
no one in 90.
It's such a clash of styles if England take on Spain. And the reason I have got England ahead of them is a bit of, I wouldn't say blind faith, because we've seen evidence of it in the Mexico game and in the second half of the Croatia game, that Thomas Tuchel keeps promising us, no, hold on. When we play sides with quality that will come at us, that will have the ball, you will see the best of this England side. So I'm going in with that confidence that if we played a team such as Spain, such as an Argentina, if they get that far, because Switzerland are going to knock them out, I have confidence that England will be able to beat one of those bigger teams, at least one.
So we've both said that France could lose to Morocco tonight. They've only got past Paraguay by a 1-0 after Paraguay played the dark arts and made it as dirty as humanly possible. Yes, they beat Norway, but they beat Norway, who decided basically they weren't going to bother turning up for the last group stage game because they were already through.
Love it.
Erling Haaland, even in his interview with Katie Shanahan, said, yeah, they'll probably beat us and probably win the World Cup, but, we're through, so it doesn't matter. Like, brilliant from Brout. Wonderful stuff. Like, yes, they clearly have all the attacking talent in the world. A front four that would win any league in the world, any Champions League in the world, and should win any major tournament. Why are we so convinced, both of us, that they're number one?
For me, it's actually that result against Paraguay. That is why they're number one for me, because it showed, and I really, really liked Kylian Mbappe's comments after the game, where he was there saying, if you want to play ugly, we can play ugly, and we'll beat you. I love that. I actually think out of all the wins they've had, that's the most impressive because of all the antics from Paraguay. It was so badly officiated. They got the job done and they showed that they can either play through you or they can play ugly against you. That's why they're my number one, because how do you beat that?
Our top 8 then. Switzerland, Belgium, Norway, Morocco. Oh, it's harsh. Argentina. We vary on 2 and 3. It's the only place we did. You had Spain in 3, England 2. I had that reversed. France are number 1, but it doesn't matter because it's coming home and England are going to win the whole thing. Right? Come on. Wonderful stuff, everyone. We've got a great show coming up for you today. Adrian Durham is going to be joining us for the Breakfast Club up shortly, and then we'll have our Dan Byrne exclusive later this hour as well as we begin our USA road trip here on the S Word, sponsored by Cauchy.
From the touchline to the terraces, talkSPORT presents the S Word. 2 hours of full-on football dialogue. Every day, talkSPORT presents The S Word.
I'm loving this. Been back in the studio with my good buddy, Ollie Klink. We are here in the house. Master couldn't be bothered today. He just went, you know what? There was no football yesterday, so I'm taking a day off.
Rubbish.
Rubbish indeed. Poor from you, Master Tesfazian. It's just he couldn't take the smoke. He couldn't take the smoke from the so-called Messi stands who all saw what really happened in that game the other night. And so he's not here. And he's not here to answer himself, so it's absolutely unfair I'm doing that. But anyway,
I really enjoyed. I'm sorry to all the US fans. I am genuinely sorry you're out. But the way Master has been giving it out about the US, about how bad England have been, I enjoyed the Belgium game so much. I did. And you could tell by the messages I was putting in the group chat, including when Matt Freeze made that error, the first message in was Land of the Freeze.
very good from you.
Didn't go down well.
Very good from you.
But yeah, enjoyed it. Sorry, US fans.
Anyway, you're always with the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi. I'm Will Gavin, that's Ollie Klink. We're live here in London, but we're here for you US MNT fans as well. And we're going to be going on a road trip around the United States over the course of the next 2 hours ahead of this brilliant lineup of quarterfinals. A little bit later on, we'll be joining our commentary team with Joe Shannon and Mark McGee. They're there in Boston for France against Morocco. We're going to be heading to South Beach with Angelina Kelly. We're going to be going to New York with the great Alex Crook. And are we ready to rock and roll with our Breakfast Club brother? We are indeed. He's been an absolute star on this show every time he's joined us. And I'm sure he's sad that Master's not here today to give him some stick. The wonderful Adrian Durham is in the house.
Yes! Adrian!
Adrian, how are you, brother?
Well, I'm okay. If you told me Master wasn't coming on, I might have given it a miss and stayed in bed. But, you know, I'm gutted I can't give it to him about USMNT.
Yeah, well, you know what? The floor is yours. If you'd like to give it to him about USMNT, he's definitely going to be watching. And if not, we will clip it up and send it to him. Pathetic performance. Pathetic reaction to what happened.
Let me keep it brief. And this is just for you, Master. If Christian Pulisic is your legend, if he's your icon, you never had any chance of doing anything special and anything better than England at this World Cup. Stick to NFL.
Oh, okay. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Like, you are looking resplendent in the sun out there in Miami ahead of this huge game on Saturday night. But I enjoyed you on kickoff last night. I enjoyed you having a bit of a recount of the trip so far. So come on. Best city you've been to so far, best stadium you've been to so far. Lay us out your highlights over the last couple of weeks.
Okay, obviously it's not my first US rodeo, but it is my first trip to certain places in the US, like Dallas, Houston, and Mexico City, for example. I'd never been there, but I would say right here, and it's not recency bias because I'm here now, but because I've been here once before on this trip, but Miami, if you'd have told me before this trip that this pale ginger would love the sun and the heat of Miami, I would have laughed in your face and said, keep me in an air-conned hotel room for the whole journey. But I love it. I love it here. In fact, I want to give a message to the people who might love me back home, the people who are waiting to welcome me back on July the 20th after England have won the World Cup. I might not be coming home. I might be staying in Miami.
Well, you're not going to stay in Miami, let's be honest, because on Monday the 20th, you're flying home ready for a parade on Tuesday the 21st through the streets of London, of course.
True, yeah, I'm meant to be on holiday, but yeah, if that happens, then I'm fine.
No one said you had to work it, Aid. Just you have to be there.
You'll be on top of the bus, Adrian, I reckon, with your new tan from Miami, probably. Adrian, I've got to ask you, I know that obviously that night in Mexico was so special for England. So in a way, we can park that game. Other than that, what would be the standout game that you've been to so far at this tournament?
Great question. I think the first England game against Croatia and that special moment between the players and the fans was very, very special. Really got us off to a flyer at this World Cup. We've actually done some great games. Netherlands-Japan was 2-2. That was fantastic. Ecuador-Germany was terrific as well. I would probably say Argentina-Cape Verde, in terms of the quality of the football, wasn't great, but the intensity of the drama, the quality of Sidney Cabral's second equaliser for Cape Verde, and that hug at the end between Vizinha and Messi, I just thought it kind of summed up this new expanded World Cup, and I'm here for it. I absolutely loved that game. That was terrific.
Now, we're going to be getting Angelina on a little bit later on to get a bit of a fan view of what's been going on in the city, but how are the team feeling ahead of Saturday right now? How are the general vibes in the camp going into this quarterfinal?
I think they're quite positive, but for me, I think that our lot are feeling a little bit too positive. There's sort of a lot of talk about semi-final without being arrogant. They know they've got a job to do against Norway. And I'm actually quite fearful of Norway because they seem so carefree. It's already been a brilliant World Cup for them, whereas England lose. And actually, there's going to be some serious interrogation and scrutiny of what went wrong for Thomas Tuchel's side. You can't get to a quarter-final without that these days if you're England. That's the Gareth Southgate legacy, and fair play to him for that. So I'm a little bit nervous because they've got a terrific goalkeeper who's in form. They've got a brilliant goal scorer that we all know about. And actually, some of their players are really good. Where they have an issue is out wide at full-back, and England could get some joy down there. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion by any stretch of the imagination. No, nobody think I'm here in Miami thinking, yeah, next stop Atlanta, England, we're just going to roll over Norway and it's going to be absolutely fine, because I think this is a tricky one, bearing in mind they've got such a brilliant goal scorer.
Yeah, Adrian, we're going to be hearing from Big Dan Burn a bit later in this show. There's been a few calls for him to potentially start this game, given his record against Haaland, which I know well as a Newcastle fan. In fact, Haaland hasn't...
You're a Newcastle fan?
Yeah, you can tell by the accent. But Haaland hasn't scored against Newcastle since 2022, and most of the time Dan Burn has been playing up against him. Is there a world where he starts this game?
So this is the saddest question we've ever had on this show, isn't it? Please love Newcastle. Please say something like that, Newcastle. We've got no players left. You're pathetic. I'm not even going to bother answering it. Of course not. He's not going to start. He's a guy who comes on, heads everything away with 15 minutes left when we're leading narrowly with 10 men. He's never going to start. I love him. Everybody loves him, but it's not all about Newcastle, Ollie. It's not all about you.
But our American friends, our American fans, they have fallen in love with old Erling Braut. He has been the shining beacon for them of this tournament. He is the player that they're throwing up when Americans ridiculously talk about this idea of, like, if we put our best athletes up when they were young, we'd be the best footballing nation in the world. Rubbish is what that is. But do you think England have the physicality to deal with him?
One man does.
Without Big Dan Burn? Without Big Dan Burn?
Daniel Johnson Burn does.
Yeah, he does, but I think Erling might just beat him for pace if it becomes a foot race. So let's leave that one hanging there like a bad smell, shall we? I think there is a problem with Haaland, but I think the bigger problem that Norway have got with Haaland is that they made a massive error at the end of their last game when they beat Brazil. They switched the drummer. So Odegaard had been drumming, and now it's Haaland drumming. I don't think you can do that. I think that leads to a mindset that's just completely confused. Who's the captain? Who's the leader? It's not Haaland. We know he's great, but he's never a captain. And I just think that that's a big mistake. They should have left it as it was. Everything was going fine.
I think we all know Adrian's build-up on Saturday, going to the beat of a different drum, etc. Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm here and ready for it. Speaking of things hanging around like a bad smell, Adrian, you've been sending our producer Sam Harris your breakfasts every morning. The Adrian Durham breakfast diaries have been a true joy for us to follow in our group WhatsApp chat. So for our American friends who wonder what we think of American cuisine while we're out there and travelling, we've got some of your breakfasts ready to show up on screen and for you to give a little bit of a rating and a ranking and a review to. We're starting off with this peanut butter and jelly mess. What on earth is going on here?
Well, this was in Winter Park, Orlando, which was absolutely beautiful, by the way. Didn't want to leave there either. But this breakfast was not beautiful. I thought, I'm here, peanut butter jelly. It's in America. You've got to give it a go. Absolutely disgusting. But I finished it. I did finish it, though, and I felt very ill for several days afterwards. But I don't recommend it. I mean, it actually looks okay, I think. I mean, it kind of, not really. It looks a bit luminous, doesn't it? It's just, I can't give it a high rating. You want it out of 10? I'm going to give it probably a 1 out of 10. It was that bad.
Yeah, I love the carousel flick round for us to see it as it was a 1 out of 10. I don't know. I like the sweet and salty mix at breakfast. So some of the ones you've sent us have been, I'm not going to say surprisingly healthy, because Americans can do health food, particularly if you get out on the West Coast as well. But I mean, this avocado, salmon, egg nonsense we've got going on, I'm not so sure that you're buying into the American culture there, Aid.
Well, this was Miami Beach just a couple of days ago, and it was so beautiful. Me, Stuart, and our commentator Jim Proudfoot went to a lovely little cafe, brunch cafe on the beach, and I just fancied it. I hadn't had avocado since I've been here. I don't mind a bit of avocado. There's a lot of green on that plate. That's what everybody has said to me. Way too much green on the plate, but I finished the lot. And actually, that's right up there with the best brunches, breakfasts I've had on this trip. So I'm going to give the avocado and salmon a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Is that a higher ranking than any England player you've given?
No, Jude got 10 last time.
So the rankings for the tour so far are Jude Bellingham, followed by the avocado toast. That's Christ. And then we've got what looks like some French toast action going on. Is that on top of just a thing of ice cream? I'm trying to figure this one out. It's in a foil tray, which is always a display of a great breakfast, of course.
Okay, this was at LaGuardia Airport, New York, and this was called a Monte Cristo, and in it is Swiss cheese, which is the melty stuff you can see, ham and turkey. Now, I love the amount of turkey that's on offer in America. It's something they've really got up on us in sandwich shops, etc. But I could only eat half of this. I mean, I love food, okay? I rarely leave anything. I could only eat half of this, and it wasn't actually that good. It was a bit sweet, so I think that's icing sugar on the top, which frankly is weird and wrong and should be a criminal offence. So that is, I kind of like the turkey part of it, so I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10.
The only other one I want to ask about, and we've got some other ones going around. There's like a fried eggs and hashed potato type situation going on, but there's also what appears to be a calzone. I'm guessing it's actually a pancake that's so big that you've put your hand into the foreground of it. And let's say with those fingers, I'd never imagine you playing the piano, Aid.
I actually.
Oh, we're about to get some big La Reveal Magnifico there. I'm not exactly sure what it was going to be.
Oh, we just missed you there, Ed. Can you go through that one again?
But I'm going to report you to Stuart Pearce because that's his hand. It's not my hand. So.
Oh, God. I've offended Psycho.
You're in trouble, Will. You're in so much trouble.
This is apple caramel, and it was a dessert that Stuart ordered. And when he got it, he realised it was absolutely gigantic.
It is ridiculous.
He ate 3 desserts in one sitting on this trip. He couldn't finish it, so I had a good chunk of that, and it was absolutely beautiful. So that's going to get a big 8 out.
8 out of 10, wow. Huge, absolutely huge. Adrian, we're losing you. We're losing you ever so slightly, mate. So we're going to have to leave it there. I know you've had a few tech issues. Hopefully that's not going to happen over the next few days. We'll wait to hear more from you guys out in Miami ahead of, I'm sorry, I know we're all saying Norway and we're concerned and Harlan and everything else. Ahead of an England victory on Saturday night. Come on, England. Come on, England. The wonderful Adrian Durham joining us from out in Miami. Starting our road trip, we're going to be going to Boston ahead of France, Morocco. We're going to be going to New York and seeing Alex Crook. I mean, Lord knows what Crook he's doing.
Yeah, Lord knows what he's eating, mate. He'd have given all of those 10 out of 10, I think.
If you've not seen the hot wings that Crookie ate on the feed while doing the drive show, they are
incredible. By the way, just quickly, the French toast there got a lower ranking than Jarell Quansah against Panama. Jarell Quansah got 3 out of 10 from Adrian. The French toast got 2 out of 10. Well done, Quansah.
Go on, Jarell.
Well done, mate.
Yeah. Don't feel hard done by me.
Better than French toast.
Yeah, Jarell had a bad game, but he's definitely better than French toast. 3 out of 10. Right. Still to cover this out, our big Dan Burn exclusive interview ahead of the quarterfinals this weekend. We'll be heading to New York to get the latest transfer news from Alex Crook. We're going to be getting the latest fan stuff with Angelina Kelly as well. And we'll be previewing France against Morocco, your first quarterfinal with the talkSPORT commentary team, all to come up here on The S Word, sponsored by Cauchy.
The S Word with Will Gavin and Master Tesfacion from talkSPORT. football in North America. And I mean the proper kind, where you only use your feet. The S Word from talkSPORT.
You rejoin us in the S-Word studio, sponsored by Calci, where we're comparing calves under the table. That's what happens when you take a day off from the World Cup, FIFA. That's what happens when you give us a rest day. This is what happens. Also, I break my glasses. Look what you've done to us. Look at the mess we're in. This is the S-Word, sponsored by Calci. Will Gavin, Ollie Klink in the studio. Coming up, we're going to be joined by Joe Shannon, our matchday commentator, live from Boston, ahead of France-Morocco tonight. Plus, we're going to be hearing from Angelina Kelly out in South Beach. We're going to be going over to Alex Crook, talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, to get some transfer news. But first, Ollie Klink. Big Si, a man that you love so very dearly. How much do you love Big Dan Burn?
I can't put it into words, Will.
Okay, well, that makes for bad broadcasting.
Bad broadcasting.
So
I cannot put it into words how much I love this man, and I'd love to talk about why.
Well, I tell you what, let's hear from the great man first.
Let's do it.
We've already been to Miami. We're back at South Beach later. We're in New York later in this show. We're in Boston later in the show. We are everywhere. But let's go to Kansas City. Let's head to Faker Others, and let's hear from a man who starred, and I mean starred off the bench, in the World Cup round of 16 in the Azteca against Mexico. One of England's heroes that day, Big Dan Burn.
Dan, have you even come down from Sunday yet?
Yeah, I'm all right now, but it was a good couple of days. I think it was obviously a lot of hype from the game, and everyone was buzzing. I think just the way the game went and the stadium, all of that, it was sort of, you couldn't have asked for anything more from a game, really.
World Cup debut at the Azteca.
Yeah.
Was that on bucket list? Was it even like a dream?
No, I think it's hard. Like, people say, oh, like, was that everything you dreamed of? And it's like, well, you didn't really. Like, I couldn't even have that dream. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you were a kid, so it was, it was special. Like, I knew the history behind it and stuff, but even listening to, like, the Mexican national anthem, like, you could hear, like, 80,000 Mexicans sing that, so it was, special. And then, obviously, the way the game went with the penalties and the sending off and all that, it was, great game.
Did you even get a second, because of the context of what was going on, did you even get that kind of, oh wow, I'm about to make my World Cup debut, or was it just like...
Yeah, a little bit, but I think because everything was happening so quickly, and I kind of, the way the game was going, like, I it's one of them where I know I've been brought for certain scenarios, and like I could see already what was coming in, and sort of just preparing yourself to come on. And I think it's different when I'm 34 and I've played like over 500 games, so like it's really just the same game, it's just a different level. Do you know what I mean? So I wasn't like nervous coming on. I knew what I was coming on to do and just wanted to get on and help the lads. So
of those 500 games, where does that one rank?
Yeah, it's got to be top 2, I think. I've said that between that and the cup final at Newcastle. I think it's hard because obviously I'm a Geordie and it was so long since we won something, so that was such a huge thing for Newcastle. But as I said, it was hard to even have this dream when I was a kid, so it's just something that maybe the last year and a half is something that I've always wanted to do. It's nice, it's like no one could take that away from us now. I've played at a World Cup, so it's special, but I want more. Like, I'd love to do it all. So
and it's interesting you say it like that, like, because I wonder whether everybody was thinking you were brought along as, fun, and the good campmate, if you like, which is so disrespectful, bearing in mind what your career is. What was it like for you to then go on, make the impact that you did when you came on in that game? Was there any part of you that was like, see, this is why I'm here? Yeah,
a little bit. I think, like, I understand people's opinion, but like I said, like, I've always just, the only people's opinions I kind of care about is the managers and my teammates. But I think that was nice as well, because I think until you get on the pitch and you show people what you can do, like, I feel like you probably earn that little bit of sort of respect from it as well. And like I said, I came to the tournament knowing that I wasn't going to start. Like, I'd had the conversations with the manager, but I also know that what I'm good at, I'm very good at. So I knew there was going to be opportunities where I could come and make a difference. So I'm just happy that I could do that. As I said, I've sat here in front of you and everybody else and said, like, if I don't play a minute, it won't make a difference. But inside, I'm thinking, I really want to get on. So now that I've done that, it's not like job done, because we know that we've still got Norway coming up at the weekend as well. So.
Yeah, well, lots of people after that performance. And in fact, before I get on to Norway, I have to ask you, because I've seen so many stills, amazing photographs that you are going to have to get framed and put at home. But that moment where Raul Jimenez was going for his overhead kick and you put your head in, there's a brilliant moment in commentary between Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce where Jim said... he almost got his teeth kicked out there. And Stu said something along the lines of, I don't think he'd have cared about that. What was going through your head?
I've played against Jimenez like many times, and I know he always likes an overhead kick if he can set it up. So just when the ball was there, and it's kind of one of them where you're just throwing yourself in front of it, like safely. You can still do it safely. Do you know what I mean? I knew I wasn't going to get it right in the face, but as I said, it was at that point, it's just you're giving everything for the team, and you know how hard they've worked. So you just wanting to show your part. So yeah, I made a nice little highlight.
Yeah, and you talked about the specialism and why Thomas Tuchel's brought you in. Jeff Stelling has also said he thinks you should start against Norway because of what you've done against Erling Haaland in the past. I think he's only scored 1 goal past you. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, 1 goal. I do enjoy playing against Erling purely just from a physical point of view. Like I quite like that sort of physical battle, and I get on well with him on the pitch. Like we do get on quite well, although you'd have to ask him if he thinks the same thing. But yeah, like if I'm asked to do that, I'd be more than ready and more than happy to do that. But obviously I also know that we've got sort of 4 other centre-halves who are also top quality players and have played this whole tournament because of that too. So
I've seen a picture of you both grappling and it didn't look like you were friends. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I was going to say it might be different between England and Norway, but between Newcastle and City it wasn't maybe as fierce as this could be.
The brilliant big Dan Burn. Didn't get my glasses fixed, as you can tell, during that break. So I had to watch it like that, but I can take them off now. I had to come out of that because I think Ollie Klink, the Newcastle fan next to me, is absolutely melting listening to him speak.
You can't see because your glasses are broken. I can't see because I was in tears during that. I love the man so much. I love him. But Faye makes a good point. He has an incredible record against Haaland. In fact, I was at St James's Park for that one Haaland goal. It was back in August 2022 in a 3-3 draw. And since then, Dan Burn has dealt with Haaland really well, and they've had some proper battles, and it was interesting hearing him there, wasn't it, talk about how much he embraces it, how much he loves that physical challenge that comes with playing against Haaland. Look, I'll be honest, there has been calls for him to start. Even though he has that record, I'm not sure that should be the case, but I'm not against, Will. I'm not against. If England are winning,
I'm chomping at the bit.
If England are winning, bring him on again. Bring him on again late in that game and give Haaland something to think about and something to deal with.
I don't hate that shout at all. But let's talk about this Erling Haaland record, because I think people are kind of half-jokingly saying it, right? In the last game, they went up against Brazil, and they went up against one of the greatest centre-backs in the world, in Gabriel. In 9 games against Gabriel, Erling Haaland has 8 goals and 2 assists. The 6'5", 207 pounds of pure power and athleticism that is Erling Braut Haaland. When he goes up against Dan Burn, it's 1 goal and 3 assists in 8 games. You said it, the lone goal coming in that 3-3 draw in their very first Premier League meeting. In 5 league meetings since, with Dan Burn playing at centre-back up against him, he has not scored a goal. And look, it may be a little bit harsh on Mark Gay, who currently takes up that left centre-back role, who plays the ball out from the back so brilliantly. But in 5 games against Mark Gay, while playing at Crystal Palace, there's only been 1 winner in those meetings. And that's been Erling Haaland. He scored in every single match against Gay, including a hat-trick in their first meeting in 2022. And you might say, oh yeah, but are they goals against Gay? 2 of them are direct headers against Mark Gay. 2 of them are literally area battles that Mark Gay lost to Erling Braut Haaland. So yes, there is the ability to build out from the back. Dan Burn might not be as strong as Mark Gay is that, but he's going to have Nico O'Reilly alongside him. He's probably going to have Ezri Konsa or John Stones on the other side. He's going to have Elliot Anderson just in front of him. There's plenty of passing lanes for him to get out of there. He will manhandle Haaland. He will cause him problems all day long. I am saying, Thomas Tuchel, start big Dan Burn. I am here for it. I want it. You love the man, but I want big Dan Burn in my England lineup.
I love it. The thing is, it's not necessarily about Dan Burn for me. It's actually about the other players you've mentioned there, because you would probably partner him with John Stones, and then I start to worry about the lack of
pace becomes a real problem at that point.
That's the only issue. But no, that's why my shout I will fully stand by. Bring him on. Bring him on.
If I'm being sensible about it, it very much depends what happens at right back as well. Yes. If Reece James is back and healthy and good to go, then I feel much more confident putting Dan Burn in there, because you're going to slide into a back 3 a lot of the time. They're going to have things to mitigate the speed at the back. I imagine you would go with Konsa over Stones purely for that pace reason, but I do understand, Mark Gay, with either Stones or Conte, you do give yourself a bit more balance. I totally understand. And maybe it is a case of not even if England are winning. Maybe it's even if England are losing. Maybe if it's a tight game and it's a draw, but Erling Haaland's causing you problems, bring on Dan Burn to get physical with him late in the game. I'm also all for that. Doesn't have to be a start, but I want Dan Burn to be playing in this game of football.
It's a trump card. There's a mental edge there. There has to be a mental edge there. He's giggling, isn't he, when Faye asked the question, because he knows that his record is that good against Erling Haaland.
And he's just had one of the greatest, performances we've seen from a defender in an England shirt in recent times.
I'm so proud of him, though. Yeah. I'm so proud of Dan Burn for so many reasons. And you can go back through his entire career. I think he was dropped by Newcastle when he was 11. He was working at an Asda, a grocery store, till he was 16. He plays in the lower leagues. He plays for the likes of Darlington, plays for the likes of Yeovil. And then when Newcastle got taken over, he's at Brighton. And I love this story. His dad tells this story, that immediately he got a text from him saying, oh, well, that's it then. My dream's over of playing for my Newcastle United, because they won't want Brighton's Dan Burn. Wrong. You're wrong, Daniel Johnson-Burn. We did want you. We signed him. He gets us up, first of all, keeps us up, having come in the January. He gets them into the Champions League, playing mostly at left back. He gets them into the Champions League again. In that same season, he scores a goal in a League Cup final to win them their first League Cup or first domestic trophy in 70 years, which is just the stuff of any Geordie's dreams. He then gets called up for England that week, by the way. That week he got called up for England the first time. He then gets called up to England for a World Cup. This man has constantly proved people wrong. Everyone was saying, weren't they? Everyone was saying that he was there to bring a bit of fun, to bring a bit of light. He was a Jordan Henderson in the group. He was a bit of a cheerleader. Well, he proved them wrong again, because he's come on. And I would say, Will, that it's the greatest England cameo of all time. The way he dealt with Mexico.
That's
at
a
the
big
back.
shout.
It's the greatest cameo from an England player of all time, given the context they were in. At the Azteca, ball magnet, heading it away. You can't beat it. You cannot beat it.
Okay, so, Jed Spence came on at the same point and also played very well, and I think he might be England's best 1v1 defender. Like, I'd start him at right back if Reece James isn't available, to be clear. So I'm not going to say it's the greatest of all time, and there are two shouts other than that, and the problem is when you score the goal, when you get the winner, like, you're always going to be heralded. Blocking an overhead kick and heading it so hard it goes into the opposition's half.
How can you beat that?
It is brilliant.
Twice.
But let's talk. He did. He headed the ball into the opposition half twice. Let's talk Ollie Watkins against the Netherlands in a knockout game. Comes on for Kane in the 80th minute, scores the winner in the 91st minute.
It's a stunning cameo. It is. But I do think England would have gone on to win that game anyway. I do.
So England don't beat Mexico if Dan Burn doesn't come off the bench.
No.
That's you sounded really convinced by that.
No, he was a colossus.
Okay, and the other one, and this is the actual winner for me.
Go on.
Italia 90. Belgium, round of 16. David Platt comes off the bench in the 72nd minute, and in the 119th minute of a 0-0 draw, scores an absolute worldie to put England through to the quarterfinals.
Do you know what? I always think that goal is so underrated, by the way.
So underrated.
It's such a good goal.
Such a good
goal. The volley from that angle is outrageous. I'm sticking with Dan Burn, mate. I have to.
I love your conviction.
I have to.
I'm totally here for it.
He was a colossus, though.
Yeah, he was. I love him.
And also, it was funny because when he came on in the venue I was in as a Newcastle fan, I was the only one applauding. Seriously, I was the only one thinking, because
you and Adam Cleary just absolutely loving life.
I did recognise that situation was absolutely perfect for Dan Burn. Absolutely perfect. Get in that box, head everything away, head every single ball away, and he did just that. And I think there were a few other fans, and I understand.
I really like the idea that England go 1-0 up in the 60th minute, and immediately you see Dan Burn start to strip off. It's just that's now Thomas Tuchel's go-to. It's like protect the lead. Big Dan Burn is what we need. Yeah. That's the slogan. There you go. You've got it.
There we go. But also, I do feel as if Tuchel has been justified in taking him there.
100%.
And there was a lot of calls for Maguire. I'll be honest, I do an inside.
I was a Lewis Hall call. That's who I believed. Look, I thought you needed another specialist fullback.
I was shocked that Lewis Hall didn't go, especially when Livramento came home. Chalobah, and we could talk about Trent and everything like that. But the direct competition, I think, for Dan Burn would have been Harry Maguire. We do the Inside England show. on that, I said, even as a Newcastle fan, even though I love Dan Burn with all my heart, I didn't quite understand why he'd gone ahead of Maguire based on the form of that season, you know, and the fact as well that Maguire played less football. You know, there was a lot of times, I think after Newcastle got battered by Barcelona 7-2, Dan Burn was talking about the fact that they were mentally and physically knackered. They were so tired. And so I was a bit surprised when he got into that squad. But like I've said, he's proved people wrong again, and it is the greatest cameo from an England player of all time.
Sensational. Look, we've gone very England heavy in the last section. We're fully aware that we need to get our US fans back on side. So in the next hour, we are going all over the United States of America. We are going to be back in South Beach with Angelina Kelly. We're going to be in Boston to preview France v Morocco tonight with the GOAT, Joe Shannon. Plus, we are going to be heading up to New York to get the latest transfer news with the main man, Alex Crook. And by the way, on that point, I just want Ollie Klink to react to this facially only. Maybe noises, but no words in reaction. Newcastle have agreed a €60 million fee with Freiburg for Johan Manzambi. Advanced talks with Manzambi over terms are ongoing. However, the team are being cautious because Aston Villa, in the wake of Onana's ACL tear, are also in for him.
Just go to the break.
We'll discuss that with Alex Crook coming up in a little while where we do transfer news here on the S Word, sponsored by Calci.
Bringing all the biggest football debates stateside. The S Word from talkSPORT. featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian. And a squad of big-name contributors. The S Word from talkSPORT.
Hello and welcome to the S Word, sponsored by Calcium. Will Gavin, and who are you?
Ollie Klink.
There we go. We're having a great time here in the studio. Quite a few of you getting in touch in the chat as we come up to our second hour of the show. We're live on Sirius XM-FC. We're live on TuneIn Radio. We're live on YouTube at talkSPORT and talkSPORT S Word, and that's one of the best places to get in touch with us. Although, drop us a DM on Instagram and all these wonderful places to the side of the screen here. Oh, it's nice being back in this seat, and I can actually point to them again. Patio Joe gets in touch saying, good morning, boys. Did not like the day off from games. Absolutely agree, Joe. Something that our friend the show Adam Cleary suggested that maybe we could get into is, why don't FIFA run like a little mini tournament of the biggest teams that didn't make it into the World Cup? Like that they have like a little 2-game, 3-game, like played over the rest days, and you can call it like the World Cup or something.
Italy walked that.
Yeah. You'd probably think so, yeah. But Italy, Ireland, like get some great fan bases. Nigeria could come out and play in it. I think it's a great idea. Yeah, I'm all for that.
It's a good shout.
He also gave us his power rankings. So we did ours earlier in the show. He comes in hot. He's got Switzerland, Belgium, Morocco, Norway at 5, above Morocco, stunning. Spain at 4, England at 3, Argentina at 2, and France at 1. Surprise.
Interesting. I can only imagine that he's been impressed with the way Argentina attack, because let's be honest,
or that they've bailed themselves out of bad situations.
Well, I tell you what though, Will, to be fair, they stunk the place out for most of that game against Egypt, but my word, they looked good in that last 10 minutes. They did. You can't deny it, and as much as you can get at that back four, they can get at yours in a big way.
And after I dug out the USMNT whole American fans, any athlete, if they were playing for us, we'd suddenly start winning World Cups. Standing on the Word gets in touch on YouTube and says, well, England have already played their World Cup final against Mexico, mate. I bet they park the bus against Norway and won't win the World Cup until at least the year 3000. All right, busted. Calm down.
The World Cup underwater.
Yeah, there we go. Very good.
By the way, Will, I just do want to give Adam a shout out, because he came up with something genius, I think. He was talking about England's back three and that heroic performance. One of the players was Dan Burn, actually. Adam, big Newcastle fan.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who knew?
He called that defensive line for England the Wonder Wall.
Very good.
Perfect.
Very, very, very good.
Deserves a shout out for that.
I'll buy that. And William's got in touch with us on Instagram. He says there's some great explanation online of why the Egyptian player's foul was called, and had Egypt lost possession and not directly scored a goal after committing the foul. He was going through that whole situation, but he basically said, really been enjoying the show. Thank you for getting involved for the US audience. And there's still more people getting in touch on Argentina and Egypt. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it, because I'll get in trouble with the other side of the glass if I start talking about it again. But people still care. That's what happens when you have a day off football, FIFA. This is what happens. Gianni, don't make me come around there. Figure out a way to have football on every day during a World Cup. Should we head out to the US again?
We should.
And let's bring on one of our favourites on the show. She'll be also maybe as devastated as Adrian Durham that Master's not here, but alongside myself, Will Gavin, and the great Ollie Klink is the wonderful Angelina Kelly.
Yes.
She's in the house now.
Ange, good to see you.
Where are you, Ange? Where are you?
I am literally on Ocean Drive in Miami. I can smell the sea, the sun. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning here, but the sun is beating down already. Producer, bless him, is sweating behind the camera, but you know what? We're here and absolutely loving it.
Are you right down at the south tip of South Beach then, like right down there? Can I just ask, because I think I know where you are. If you look to your left, can you see a Starbucks along, like on the corner of the road and the beach from you? I think I know the exact spot she's in, but now she's saying she can't see it.
What a landmark.
No, just...
I mean, there's green umbrellas.
On that road.
I'll tell you for why. Very weird personal story. After the Super Bowl in Miami in 2000, I was very hungover on the Monday morning in that Starbucks, and that's where I closed on my house. So,
well done, mate.
It's apparently just further down the street, so you're on the right kind of track there.
Is there a blue plaque up for me there that I once visited in 2000?
I love
they're actually building a statue of you right now.
2020, of course. That's what I meant, not 2000. I'm not that old. And how's Miami been so far? How are the vibes since you arrived there? Like, talk us a bit about like a fan starting to rock up to the city ahead of Saturday.
You know what? The fans are slowly starting to arrive. As we were getting ourselves in position, we saw about 3 or 4 England fans just going past on a bike ride, just asking what we were going to be talking about. We said, there is a World Cup, I'm sure you know about it, but there's been a lot of issues with the travel because there haven't been that many direct flights from Mexico City straight to Miami. We've heard of people going via Colombia. A few people have actually gone to Cancun for a few days before they come to Miami. Great plan from them, by the way. But yeah, people are travelling all over. So England fans just starting to arrive, but the locals have been so friendly. We've already made a couple of mates. I mean, even just, again, as we were setting up, we had a couple walking past wanting to know what we were doing, chatting to us, really, really friendly, amazing vibes. And when you've got the palm trees, the sunshine, I'm sorry to rub it in. I know you guys have got good weather back in London, but it just puts you in a good mood constantly. And it's a World Cup as well.
Yeah, the UK can't cope with the heat, so we're just all melting. And in fact, on the weather, I feel like the US fans who watch this show must laugh so much at how much England fans talk about the weather. We do it constantly anyway as English people. But when we played Mexico, Ange, all of the journalists decided that was the time to tell the whole world that they love running 5Ks, and they were putting out these clips of them running 5Ks. Usually I do 24 minutes, but because of the altitude, I did 26. It's really tough. You're not an athlete.
I love Miguel Delaney, but you're not 23-year-old Jude Bellingham, Miguel. Like, come on.
But I was just wondering, Ange.
Can I just say I was the one person that didn't do that? Absolutely not.
Did you?
Absolutely not. I didn't do it in Mexico City. I didn't do it in New York. I didn't do it in Atlanta, and I'm not doing it here. I might get some rollerblades and go for a little skate, but do not expect that kind of content from me. I've got asthma. I've not got it in me. I'm sorry, guys.
I mean, how is the heat though? On a serious note, I mean, do you feel like it could be a factor?
I think for a few people have been struggling with the heat on the team overall, aka Adrian Durham. No, I'm just joking. But when you look at the weather across the World Cup, I mean, we've had more rain than we've had sun. I mean, you think about the game in Boston, you think about the game, New York, New Jersey Stadium. We were absolutely soaked. And then Mexico City, we were sat in the media centre told to actually not move. And we were watching the lightning, the rain, etc. It was absolutely insane. And even during the daytime in Mexico City, the roads were flooding, the traffic was crazy. It was a great place to be. And being at the Azteca, I mean, it's what dreams are made of, and it's, it might sound a bit cringe to some people, but when you feel like some things are kind of written, kind of meant to be, I think being there, England being there, getting the result that they got, the fans, you had 70,000 Mexico fans to about 10,000 England. We had people crying about the occasion, when Wonderwall was playing, and the emotion that it took over. So to be there despite the thunder and lightning and flooding in Mexico City, it was a great occasion. And then to come here to Miami, it is a real treat because it's just absolutely beautiful. Blue skies constantly.
Oh, Andrew, honestly, I wanted to say your fan interviews throughout the tournament have been superb. They always are, and you do a lot of it throughout the season, the Premier League season, and obviously when England play. But I know the interview you're talking about with that very, very emotional England fan who was in tears about what he just witnessed, and it almost, I think, summed up the emotion back home too. That's what we were all feeling as the sun was rising at about 5 a.m. But having been there, were you expecting that kind of emotional reaction from the England supporters that got to witness that?
You know what? At first, I wasn't expecting that much emotion because I'll be honest, it did feel quite hostile. I mean, they were playing songs, they were playing Queen, they were playing Status Quo, they played Don't Look Back in Anger in the build-up to the game. Obviously, we had that delay as well because of the weather. The Mexico fans were just booing. They were, I mean, I don't even get how you can boo Queen, but they were booing Queen. They just were not having it. And it did feel very hostile. As much as the fans were saying, oh, we've been chatting to Mexico fans, they've bought us a drink, etc. You did also see fans when they were walking past groups of Mexico fans just getting booed and being called words that I cannot actually repeat whilst I'm speaking to the both of you. But it was hostile. We saw the beers being thrown when Mexico scored, when they got a penalty, etc. Luckily I had my raincoat with me. So when we then came out, I was a little bit nervous, to be honest, when we were speaking to the fans. Like, what's the energy going to be like? What's the atmosphere going to be like? And there was so much emotion and so much love. We saw Mexico fans hugging England fans, telling us, bring it home. They especially want England to beat Argentina. But they're saying, you know, go and do it. Like, thank you so much. We've loved having you here. And I think the way that it went from kind of being hostile to so much, I guess, kind of love in the air. It was really, really sweet. And then to speak to fans and for them to say, to be in this stadium. We spoke to people that had been at the game of the Hand of God and then had come back for this game. And just the occasion, yeah, it was fantastic. So, yeah, it was really sweet that people got that emotional. It was nice to get a few hugs as well.
Love that. And I wonder, as someone who is a Spanish speaker, did you, during the hostile part, during the pre-part, did you catch anything that maybe you weren't meant to have heard because you were they wouldn't have expected you to speak the language?
There were a few chants that I was translating for the talkSPORT team, shall we say. One or two disgruntled people as they were walking off. No, absolutely not. Yeah, a few things that I maybe can't repeat. I think there was a few jabs towards poor Jordan Pickford as well. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was great, and we like to have a bit of fun, especially Adrian Durham does, about me speaking Spanish. He says that I never bring it up, which I do.
Yeah. I'm sure you would have been.
It was good to practice a bit.
Delighted that it came from me rather than from you for once. Look, just in general for your experiences out there, for all our American listeners and watchers, talk to us about your favourite stadium you've been to, and also, I've been enjoying the fan videos, not going to lie. As a big man, I've been enjoying the food videos and the stadium eats, etc. What's the best stadium you've been to, and what's the best food you've eaten in those stadiums?
You know what? When it comes to the stadiums, when you compare it to, you know, a UK or a European matchday experience, I think that Atlanta was probably the best, just because you could have that walk towards the stadium. We know about some of the other stadiums that England have been playing at. You can't walk, you've got to get transport. It's been a little bit difficult. Regarding a stadium to actually sit in, I think in Boston that was absolutely incredible. The way that it was open air. We were at the Scotland-Morocco game when the sun was shining. Obviously the England game, it was raining. But to just be there and to experience that, it was absolutely beautiful. To actually sit in, obviously the air-conditioned ones are quite nice. The Azteca was iconic, as I said. The food, I've got to give it to Atlanta. I mean, the food in Atlanta anyway is absolutely fantastic, but because the owner of the stadium spoke about bringing prices down, the amount of food that we got, as I'm sure you guys will see on the video, I mean, we had to share it out between everyone. Normally it's just me and producer Sonny scrapping for the odd little bit that we can get, but the fact that we got so much food, you know, it was brilliant. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Atlanta. A few people thought I was actually too kind in Mexico City with the chicken and chips, giving it 5. People said I should have given it 2, but I stand by my rating. The chipotle sauce did make it.
It's a funny one with Atlanta. If people haven't been to that wonderful stadium, what are they calling it for this? Just the Atlanta Stadium, I guess, but the Mercedes-Benz. Arthur Blank, who built that stadium, who owns the soccer team there in Atlanta, who owns the Falcons as well, he made a big point of all of the vendors who sell food in the stadium. They're all from local vendors. Like, you've got Chick-fil-A in there, but they are a Georgia company, right? So all of the vendors are local food companies, and the rule was we won't charge you extortionate fees to have a stand in the stadium if you charge people your prices that you charge them in store and don't charge a huge markup for in stadium. So the beer is like $5 a beer instead of spending like $17 a beer like you will do in SoFi or somewhere like that. All the food's really reasonably priced as well. The only problem they have is, I've been there for a couple of times. I was there for a Super Bowl, I was there for a Sunday night football game against the Cowboys, is that if the game gets away from one team, if somebody's blowing another team out and the beers downstairs are only $5, everyone floods down and watches it on the concourse and just starts drinking. Like, they were like 4 touchdowns up against the Cowboys, and it's like the stadium was legitimately empty because everyone's just going and having a good time. So it's kind of like they shot themselves in the foot a little bit. And I know England have already been there once, but I'm slightly worried about what a semi-final against Argentina would look like if the beers are only $5 in the concession stands. I think it's going to be a good time had by all.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. And I guess in the Azteca, the beers were quite cheap. I must say as well, in the Azteca, there were people coming round selling food as the game was going on, which was quite distracting. But we were looking at we're talking sushi, we're talking pizza, we're talking enchilada, you name it. It was going on. It was like absolutely insane. But yeah, I guess when it's places like the Azteca or in Atlanta where the prices are cheaper, you're more likely to get people, you know, maybe dipping down, etc. But yeah, I think in Atlanta it was it was a great experience overall. It's an absolutely beautiful stadium. But yeah, fingers crossed the England fans don't end up drifting down, because yeah, I'll be honest, the screens down there are still quite good.
And I've got to say, my favourite of your food reviews so far, and I'll be honest, I don't know where you were, you can confirm in just a moment, but you had a lobster roll, and when you tried it, I think your vocabulary.
I've seen it, so I know what's coming.
I think your vocabulary escaped you very quickly. You're a fantastic reporter, but my favourite thing you said was, if I were going to describe the taste in one word, I'd say lobstery.
Lobstery.
Just superb. Just superb.
If anyone was going to bring that up, I know that it was going to be you, Clinky. It was, I mean, listen, you don't understand the pressure that was going on, because I actually forgot producer Sonny, who's done an amazing job filming all of this content. I forgot he's allergic to lobster. So as I was eating it, I kept saying, Sonny, you've got to try a bit of this. Honestly, Sonny. And he kept looking at me. He was like, why are you trying to harm me? He was like, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. So there was a lot going on that day, I'll be honest. But what I think I was trying to get across was maybe like how fresh it was. I don't eat lobster that often, believe it or not. In Manchester, we don't have a lot of lobster. But it was probably top 3 things that I've eaten at this World Cup.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Just before you go, Ange, I just want to ask you about the belief that some of the England fans have actually out in the States, because I feel that at times there can be a bit of a disconnect with how fans are feeling back here compared to out there. It happened, I think, at the Euros where a lot of England fans were believing a lot more than back home. From the ones you've spoken to, is it coming home? Is there that genuine belief that this team goes all the way?
I would probably say 90% of the people that I'm speaking to are saying that it's coming home. The other 10% are like, I don't want to say it just yet, but I think it might be. There has been so much belief. The fans have been absolutely incredible at this tournament. And I think after the Mexico game, speaking to the fans, they said, you know, everyone was talking about the altitude, didn't seem to affect the players. Everybody was talking about the hostility, didn't seem to affect them. The amount of Mexico fans versus England fans, this, for a lot of fans, they've said, was the biggest mountain for England to get over. They've said, you know we might face Argentina or France or whoever, but to get over that game and for it to be such an iconic game, such an emotional game, a lot of fans are like, you know what, now we can almost relax a little bit, a few have said, because we've got that out of the way. We'll have built a lot of confidence with the England players and they just want to go again, and they've got true belief. Everybody, like I say, seems to believe that this is actually going to be England's year. And a lot of people, like, so much praise for Thomas Tuchel. I know that not everything's been perfect. I know that you can criticise a couple of things. I mean, he couldn't have known what was going to happen with this right-back situation. A few people saying maybe Trent Alexander should have been here. You know, that's maybe a different debate. But everybody is firmly behind Thomas Tuchel. It's constantly in Tuchel we trust. And maybe because we had a little bit longer with Gareth Southgate, but at the last Euros, the second that something didn't seem right, the fans were not happy. Whereas here at this World Cup, they seem a lot calmer and they just completely believe.
My T-shirt's in the other room. I have a Keep Calm and Trust Tuchel T-shirt, which we've been busting out on a regular basis. I am a true believer in the wonderful Thomas Tuchel, and I'm an even bigger believer in the wonderful Angelina Kelly. Thank you so much for joining the show. Brilliant stuff from you, as always. Love it to pieces. We're going to go, still got to go to Boston, still got to go to New York in this hour. The great Alex Crook, the great Joe Shannon still to join the show. You're watching The S Word, sponsored by Cowshy.
The daily deep dive into the world of football. The S Word from talkSPORT. kickoff to the full-time whistle. Don't say the S word. Say the F word. Football. The S word from talkSPORT.
You're back with the S Word, sponsored by talkSPORT. My glasses are back on and working again. And that means the rest of the show is going to be, well, it's been a banger so far already. Ollie, have you enjoyed yourself?
I've loved it, Will. I'm sorry that you have to now see my face in full HD.
Oh, no, I love it. Yeah, I'm so glad to have you in the studio alongside me live here in London. We're out in the US where it's about 9:20 Eastern. Don't forget, you can get us as well as being on Sirius XM FC. We are available on TuneIn Radio on the app, both as a podcast and a live channel. We are available on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts in video form. We're on the Fox Soccer app. We're on the Fox One app. We are just absolutely everywhere because we are indeed massive. Yeehaw. Yeehaw indeed. It's the reason I hate that drop. I love all the drops we do, but it's just because it's the most lackluster yeehaw anyone's ever yeehawed ever.
Do a better one. Do a better one. Go on.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, I can't beat that.
Come on.
Yeah!
It's
rubbish.
It's all right.
Well, I just got a no from Sam.
No, not good enough.
Yeah.
Rubbish. That's definitely Gabs' favourite of all of them. Right, we've still got to come this hour. Alex Crook will join us. We'll talk about that Newcastle transfer news. We'll talk about some of the Spurs signings. And we're going to talk about the Man United midfield. We didn't really get into that with Angelina Kelly, but what are they doing? Andre Santos, is that really it? Is that the answer? You might sign him and Ederson and yet not sign any of these really great central midfielders who are available this summer. No Bruno Guimaraes, no Tonali. You don't just have to sign players from Newcastle, of course. No Matis Fernandes. Chimeni's just signed a new contract. So we'll get into that with Alex.
They can have Joe Willock if they want him.
Oh, God, you're so generous. But first, let's talk about the action tonight, because the quarterfinals are here. The World Cup is still going. We still have 7 meaningful games and a third-place playoff, which becomes meaningful if England lose a semi-final, of course, to only the people in this room. And tonight is a cracker. On paper, we've talked about this a little bit already, Ollie, but there's just that inkling, just that feeling that after that Paraguay performance, maybe a blueprint's been laid out. Maybe, just maybe, Morocco might give us the upset to kick off the quarterfinals that the World Cup would love.
Mate, if you go back to 2022 and France beating Morocco in that semi-final, they had to work for that. They had to work hard for that. And I think that this Morocco side, they were kind of the sweethearts, weren't they?
Yeah.
Of 2022. They're a much better team now. Much better team.
France arguably a better team as well.
That's a good point.
Elise's had a couple more years to really grow up and become a superstar. Like, he is a superstar now. Yeah, Doué's really come through since then. Like, I'd argue defensively they're maybe not a better team though. Fullbacks are a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, you're talking about a decent fullback, at least one decent fullback for Morocco in Hakimi as well, who will be able to limit.
Loves an overlap, does
loves an overlap. Does love an overlap, and the fact that Morocco attack down the flanks. And I think there's one weakness in France. It's so difficult to pick a weakness in France, but it would be their fullbacks. And I think that is how Morocco have got the better of some teams, is that they've decided to move the ball out wide and whip it into the middle and see what happens. They can cause a few issues for France. Put it this way, I wouldn't be surprised, Will, if Morocco go at least 1 up. If they go 1 up in the game. And look, I think France have just looked ferocious, fierce throughout the whole tournament. And I spoke a bit earlier, didn't I, about the fact that I think that Paraguay win is their most impressive because they won ugly, because they had to come up against a side that were being so poorly refereed. How Paraguay didn't get a yellow card in that game,
astonishing,
is unbelievable. You know, we can dig into Argentina, Egypt. We can talk about the fact that the whole VAR team for this game is Argentinian. Blah blah blah.
There's only one man in Spain that matters, though.
That's true. But the worst refereeing performance was the France-Paraguay game.
Well, in fact, a man who only commentates on bangers, a man who was there for Argentina Egypt just a few days ago. He's our GOAT, who commentated on the GOAT the other night, and tonight he's commentating on the future GOAT. Could he be commentating on one of the upsets of the World Cup for the quarterfinal live in Boston? And he's wearing his Red Sox hat at that. The wonderful Joe Shannon.
Love it. Love it.
Joe, how are you feeling ahead of tonight?
Hello, guys. Hello.
How are you feeling ahead of tonight?
I cannot wait.
Yes, come on, Joe.
I'm very excited. Welcome, first of all, to the legendary Fenway Park, home of the legendary Boston Red Sox. This, to me, is the Highbury of ballparks. Elegance and grandeur is its middle name. history and fame everywhere you look, and a lot of excitement, I think, building in this city ahead of the game tonight. I've seen France fans, I've seen Morocco fans, guys. This one, for me, could end up going all the way. I would not be surprised if we end up with another World Cup penalty shootout. And I tell you what, we know that Morocco have it good when it comes to World Cup penalty shootouts. They've won both of them. They've only faced 8 penalties in the history of World Cup shootouts. Only 2 of them have been scored. So if it goes all the way, Morocco will fancy their chances.
Where else, Joe, do you feel that Morocco can threaten France when we talk about that 90 minutes or even 120 minutes in the game?
I think you guys are absolutely right to pinpoint the fullback positions, the left back position in particular. We're not entirely sure who will start at left back for France tonight. Will it be Lucas Digne? Will it be Theo Hernandez? There are weaknesses there, and I think Deo Upamecano has shown vulnerability over these World Cup matches. He gives you a chance. He gives up just little half opportunities, hurried clearances, misplaced tackles. Look, he's still a very good centre-half. He plays for Bayern Munich, who went deep in the Champions League final last season, semi-final last season, as we know. So he's no mug, that's for sure. But if I'm nitpicking, if I'm looking for little weaknesses in this French team, I look at that centre-half position and I look maybe at the left-back position as areas where Morocco can maybe get at them.
Look, this isn't your first game for either of these teams this tournament, Joe, but you were at the Paraguay-France game and you saw the toil that they had in that game. No one's encouraging Morocco to quite go to the level of dark arts maybe that we saw from the Paraguayans, but do you think they're going to have to get in the trenches a little bit, get a bit dirty with them, get a little bit, Eshousery and try and mix things up in order to knock France off their step a little bit?
Maybe, although I think this Morocco team are no longer a surprise in terms of their ability to compete at the highest level, guys. You might have said that in 2022. You're not saying that in 2026. There's a lot more quality in this Morocco team than there was in the Paraguay side that we saw a game ago in the round of 16. For me as well, nothing wrong with 5 at the back and 4 in front of them. I've got no problem with the defensive setup. Where I draw the line is the sheer cynicism of those Paraguay tactics, the sheer cynicism of the dark arts that they employed. Not for me, not how football should be played. I think Morocco are better than that. They've got too much quality to stoop to that level, and if they come out and play, we could see a really intriguing, exciting game tonight. But as we've all been saying, guys, it's that France front four, that sparkling front four, that is likely to make all the difference.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up, Joe. I mean, they have all been astonishingly good, to the extent where I think we were talking with Eric Bielderman from L'Equipe the other day on this show, and we talked about Ousmane Dembele, who's already had a fantastic tournament. He said, yeah, he's not been great though, has he?
He won League One Player of the Season despite playing out like 19 games. Like it's a weird one with Dembele. I kind of have mixed feelings on him. I do think, though, what he's underrated is that, because there's a lot of talk of Kylian Mbappe at club level. Does he track back enough? Does he work hard enough? Actually, there's this idea that front four might leave them vulnerable at the back. But I don't know, when I've watched them, Elise chases back, they are a hard-working team despite all the flair.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're not bad, are they? As a front four, they've scored 13 of France's 14 goals in the tournament so far, and France the top scorers. To me, this is what makes France unique. To me, this is what makes France, in my opinion, still front runners for the tournament. The quality that they've got in those forward positions, the fact they can all interchange. Elise is largely played as a number 10. We know him from club football as usually playing out wide, but he's very comfortable in the number 10 role for France. You've got Barcola on one side, you've got Dembele on the other, and Mbappe needs no introduction through the middle. And then I think it's about who you can bring off the bench in these sorts of situations. You've got Ryan Cherky, guys. He's made 5 sub-appearances. He can't get a starting place in this team. Wow. That's how good these France attacking options are. It is an embarrassment of riches, and that, I think, could well be enough to carry them through.
I've got a question for both of you. I'll start with you, Joe. Michael Elise has absolutely lit up the tournament. He's got 5 assists so far, but 0 goals. I still think that if France go all the way, that he should be a shoo-in for the Golden Ball, because he has been, for me, the most entertaining player at the tournament despite his lack of goals. But can you win the Golden Ball if you haven't scored?
That's a very good question. I mean, should it be about impact? Should it be about ability to influence matches, ability to change the course of how things are going for a team? If you're looking for a player like that, look no further than Michael Elise. I mean, guys, this is his first World Cup. His first World Cup, and he's taken to it like a duck to water. There are no nerves. There's a fearlessness about Michael Elise. There is a distinct quality about Michael Elise. He is a top-tier talent. And isn't it remarkable? Because I remember the start of his career when he was at Reading in the Championship, and everybody thought, well, this guy could get games in the Premier League. This guy's a good signing for Crystal Palace. Look at where he is now. He is the elite of the elite. He is the cream of the crop. He and Mbappe, to me, have been the two key players for France over the course of this tournament.
Will, before you answer that,
don't make me talk about Reading and Michael Elise and the shambles of a football club I support, because not signing him to a new contract, letting him go for £15 million instead of what you could have got 30 for him, and having no sell-on clause is some of the worst run football management I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, you got me onto it, sorry.
Yeah. In terms of what Joe just said there, impacting a game, changing a game to win the Golden Ball, Dan Burn?
Yeah, Dan Burn all the way. Dan Burn for the Golden Ball.
He'll head it away.
It is that Elise. You mentioned the move to number 10, though. I go back right to that first game of the tournament where against Senegal, they started him out on the wing, and in the second half they moved Dembele wide and they moved him inside, and it completely unlocked that game. And it was like Didier Deschamps kind of went, okay, that's how we're going to do things. And, now he might be running FIFA in the not-too-distant future if we all keep our fingers firmly crossed. So, yeah, if he knows what he's doing with France, then fingers crossed he might know what he's doing with FIFA as well.
I like what Deschamps has done, guys. I think he's really taken the handbrake off at this tournament, even compared to 2022, when, of course, France made the final, and they were so close to winning that tournament on penalty kicks, so they could easily have achieved the hat-trick of World Cup triumphs already. But I really like how Deschamps has let them off the leash as far as this tournament is concerned. There is a freedom about the way that France play, and of course when you've got an Mbappe in the team, it's like having a Messi, it's like having a Kane, it's like having a Haaland. These players, when they want to, can decide to take the game by the scruff of the neck. If they want to get involved, if they want to get on the score sheet, they will just do it. We've seen Mbappe do that in this tournament. One of my favourite moments, guys, was the game against Senegal when he scored that third and final goal. He was just like, right, I fancy ending this now. I'm sick of this. I'm just going to get the ball, I'm going to shoot, and I'm going to pick out the top corner. That's exactly what he did. That's exactly what the top players do. And that is why I still struggle to look beyond France as to who are going to be the winners of this World Cup. To me, they're still red-hot favourites. If they beat Morocco tonight, that'll only underline their credentials even more.
Joe, in true Mbappe fashion, we want to end this because we're sick of this. Could you give us your prediction for tonight's game? Do you think it does go all the way and goes to penalties?
I'm not surprised. No, I totally get it. I do have a tendency to waffle on like this. But no, look, I think it could easily go all the way, this one, guys. I could see that. What I hope is that we have an entertaining game, because these are two teams who can play. These are two teams with a lot of quality. I think Bouhaddi, by the way, is a really interesting player. I know we've not got long, but I think Bouhaddi only changed allegiance from France to Morocco a month ago. How's he going to be feeling going into tonight? That's going to be fascinating to see. But I'm going to say that France will edge it, whether it's on extra time, whether it's on penalties. I've just had a Morocco fan just walk past the camera, guys. He's backing Morocco, of course he is. But I think that France are just going to edge it. Come back.
Thank you so much. The wonderful Joe Shannon joining us here on the S Word. I have to say, I know everything Joe's saying, and I know we actually spent most of that interview waxing lyrical about France, but Morocco can be so compact. They can absorb all that pressure. I think they can cause them so many issues. And then he mentioned Bouhaddi. You talked about Hakimi, Brahim Diaz. These are guys who can hit them on the break. They're so lightning fast. And I like three of that French back four are a concern. I like Morocco to at least score in this game, and I kind of like them to. If they take it to extra time.
Wouldn't be shocked. And I tell you what, just quickly, I think Joe makes a really interesting point.
I think the Morocco fan's come back, by the way. I think the Morocco fan has come back.
No.
Joe Shannon, do you have a live Morocco fan for us in Boston? We're going to cross over in a moment. Apologies. We will get there momentarily.
It's probably just calming him down before he goes on it.
Take a breath.
But just very quickly, I think it's a really interesting point about Bouhaddi switching allegiance. And I think Morocco's FA deserves so much credit. They actually became the first team in World Cup history to field a side where all 11 players had been born outside of Morocco against Brazil a bit earlier on in the tournament. And I think that it's a model and a structure that the other teams should follow. What they've done is they've looked at the academies in, let's say, the Netherlands or France, where there's plenty of players with Moroccan heritage. They've gone to them, even at the age of about 11, Will, and they've said, look, have Morocco as an option. Your roots are Moroccan. They've convinced them to come and play for Morocco and represent Morocco, and they are reaping the rewards of that.
All right, let's go back to Joe Shannon because he has tracked us down a Morocco fan to hear from. Joe!
Hello, gents. Hello. We are back at Fenway Park. I told you there was a Morocco fan walking past, and we're going to give him right of reply. What's your name, sir?
Arib Ahmad.
Thanks for talking to us. Why will Morocco have enough to edge out France tonight?
Well, you know, France is obviously the favorites going into this tournament. You saw what happened to Egypt and Argentina. Robbed. You know, as a Muslim American, I'm going to support my African Muslim teams. You see the colonizers being faced against the people who were colonized. So it'd be nice to see Morocco get a dub and, get the job done. Obviously, Hakimi's been playing great. You know, they've been having a great tournament, 3-0 against Canada, coming off some strong momentum. And I just think they're really going to put this away 1-0. I got Morocco.
Do you worry about Mbappe? Do you worry about France and Elise and people like that?
I mean, who doesn't worry about them? You know what I'm saying? You got Mbappe, Elise, Dembele, and shout out to Dembele. I love that dude, man. I really wish the best for him. But I don't know, man. I just, it'd be great for a small country like that, coming off from the semifinals in 2022 to really make a big statement, this year. It'd mean a lot to the fans. I mean, France, you guys already got your World Cup. All right, we don't need you anymore. Just get out of here, okay? And so it'd be nice to see Morocco, pull off a win.
Are you going to the game tonight?
Obviously not, since I'm at work. I wish I was, but, I'm going to be watching it here and supporting them, from a distance.
Thanks so much, my friend.
Yeah, no worries, man.
You're natural. Appreciate it.
I mean, Joe Shannon, do you have room for another? Do you have room for another in your booth? He could be your third man. He could be your colour commentator alongside. He knew his stuff. I love that, Joe. Brilliant from you. Thank you again, sir.
He's a natural, isn't he?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
He was excellent. Brilliant. The wonderful Joe Shannon joining us on the S Word, where we can do more of stuff like that at all times. Let's see what Alex Crook has planned for us up next as we get into transfers ahead of the quarterfinals, because that transfer window, there's a lot of action going on right now, particularly with this man's Newcastle team.
I might just go.
Just me and Crookie for this next section. I feel like. Don't forget, keep getting in touch with us on YouTube at talkSPORT S Word. We're on the talkSPORT YouTube channel as well. There goes Ollie Klink. Alex Crook up next.
Around here, we only use the F word. talkSPORT presents the S word. presents the S Word. Get your full-on football fix from across the football galaxy. The S Word from talkSPORT.
What's happened, mate?
Ever professional. My headphones pulled out just as we went live. They just came out of the socket.
Your glasses are broken. Headphones don't work.
I'm having a mare. It's all right. I got a couple of days off after this. I've taken tomorrow off so that I can be here on Sunday to celebrate England's victory over Norway. We've got every game, of course, live on talkSPORT. We had the brilliant Joe Shannon just joining us from Boston ahead of France, Morocco tonight. We've been out in Miami already today. Not once, but twice. Angelina Kelly joined us to talk about the fan experience. Adrian Durham showed us a lot of his breakfast. That just makes it sound like he was sick on air. Apologies. But now we head a little bit further north of both those locations to the wonderful New York City. And we talk some transfers with Chief Football Correspondent Alex Crook is in the house. Crookie, how are you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, boys. How we doing?
So you didn't fancy getting a new hat when you went to New York. You've just stuck with cowboy all the way then?
Cowboy Crookie has become a thing over here in America, and I'm going to stick with it right the way until England win the final in New Jersey. And I think the first time I'm back in the studio, probably for one of my Friday shows with Sam and Gabby, the cowboy hat's going to make an appearance as well. I've got to say, the locals are all over it every time I go anywhere. Love your hat, man.
Good accent. I've also been reliably informed, Crookie, that you aren't wearing any shoes or indeed socks right now. Is that right?
That is correct, yeah. But you don't want to see my feet. There is a reason for that. Now, New York is a brilliant city, okay, but you can't get anywhere quickly, and I've found the best way to navigate it is to do a lot of walking. Now, I'm not used to doing a lot of walking, nor are these feet. I've got blisters everywhere, so I'm just giving them a little bit of airtime this morning.
but thankfully not giving them any airtime, because our viewers do not need to see that, if you know what I mean.
They really don't. They really don't.
Crookie, can we start with Newcastle? Because the Newcastle fan next to me is having a tough time. They're selling off their entire midfield. I mean, only Joe Willock is left standing. And now, just as they're signing a player who Ollie Klink couldn't be a bigger fan of, having covered him during doing World Cup games overnight, they might be hijacked for it.
Yeah, Yohan Manzambi, the Swiss player who's been one of the standout stars so far in this tournament. Obviously a big part for him to play if they are to shock Argentina in that quarter-final. €60 million fee basically agreed between Newcastle and his German club Freiburg, but they're yet to agree personal terms. I don't think those conversations can really ramp up until after the Swiss exit the World Cup at whatever stage that may be. And having already lost out this summer on Victor Munoz from Osasuna to Liverpool, they are worried, Newcastle, that a bigger club could come in and hijack this deal. And I was told this morning Aston Villa, who've obviously lost Onana due to an injury he picked up over here at the World Cup, are monitoring the situation. Whether they can match the €60 million, I'm not sure. But if he was to have the game of his life against Messi in Argentina, you would be fearful as a Newcastle fan that maybe a bigger club could come in.
Yeah, it's a strange one, Crookie, because I've really wanted to watch his performances and how well he's done at this World Cup. And by the way, he is some player. He's electric. But at the same time, you're right, it puts him in the shop window even more, doesn't it? And it means that the price tag potentially rises too. And to be honest, and I know we're going to talk about Bruno Guimaraes in just a moment, I just don't trust anything now as a Newcastle fan, whether it's incomings or outgoings. In terms of incomings, I never quite believe that Newcastle have got the deal over the line unless I see them in a black and white shirt, because of the amount of times that last summer they got hijacked, and already, like you pointed out, Victor Munoz went to Liverpool. I've never really trusted this Manzambi deal because of the amount of times it's happened before. So there's that worry on that side. And by the way, Newcastle need to get on with it in terms of incomings. I know the World Cup's on, but they have to hurry up because they've already lost some key players. They needed to make signings anyway. And yet again, they're being used as a stalking horse by all of these clubs. It's so frustrating. And then when it comes to the outgoings, Bruno Guimaraes, we've got to ask you about what's the latest with him, because from my end, it's not looking good.
No, clearly when a player relays it to a club that he wants out, it's difficult to keep him as Newcastle fan with Alexander Isak last summer. I think personal terms are pretty much agreed, if not agreed, with Arsenal. That is his preferred destination. This is a move that is being personally driven by Mikel Arteta, really looking to strengthen from a position of power, having won that first title in more than 2 decades last season. At the moment, the 60 million fee being talked about I don't think would be enough for Newcastle, but it looks a very difficult situation now for them to hang on to their captain. They've already lost Sandro Tonali, albeit for a huge fee, to Tottenham. Anthony Gordon has gone to Barcelona. And then you look at the profile of players coming in, they seem to be replacing these players with young, up-and-coming stars. It's a little bit dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
I do worry a little bit for Newcastle next season. I certainly don't, at this stage, see them mounting any kind of European challenge, and that will only ramp up the fan pressure on Eddie Howe. I don't think he's to blame here.
Let me ask, with that midfield move, and it's another one where Bruno Guimaraes is saying the 60 million may not be enough, that fee will need to go up. So it means that we'll have seen Bruno Guimaraes move, we've seen Sandro Tonali, Mathis Fernandes, we've just heard Tchouameni signing a new contract as well. A lot of big name midfielders going for very big money or coming off the market. Both with your football, correspondent hat on, Crookie, but also your Manchester United fan hat as well.
And his cowboy hat.
And your cowboy hat. 3 hats in one man. Manchester United going Andre Santos.
That's trying to blow away, by the way. Hence, I'm holding it on my head.
Like Andre Santos coming in from Chelsea. Ederson, if that deal does happen and, some question marks over it. I understand that Man United don't want to break some kind of barrier. They don't want to spend too much money. But are you a little concerned that they're going to come away from this summer with a midfield that just isn't strong enough to compete?
Yeah, and I was on Drive yesterday, and I made the point. Obviously, Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe supposedly are making all the big football decisions now. But this feels like a very Glazer-esque transfer window, and the reason I say that, if you go back through the recent history of Manchester United, certainly since Sir Alex Ferguson left the club, they seem willing to spend money when they're not in the Champions League to try and get back at Europe's top table, and then when they get their seat back, they seem to pull in the spending. And 50 million for Andre Santos is not a transformative signing. Michael Carrick did very well to get United 3rd place last season, but it's going to be a lot more competitive, particularly with midweek games taken into account. You can only imagine that Liverpool under Andoni Iraola are going to be a lot stronger than they were last season when they sort of limped over the line into a Champions League place. Chelsea, with no European football, are going to back Xabi Alonso, so they're going to be stronger as well. Tottenham are definitely going to be stronger when you look at their spending. So United need a big name, a big hitter signer. They've missed out on Elliot Anders. They've pulled out of the race with Matheus Fernandes, as you said, and 50 million for a player who can't get in the Chelsea team, just that doesn't inspire confidence for me. The only positive I can see is that Kobbie Mainoo is going to be the main man in midfield. He really needs to step up to the plate and show the talent that I and a lot of United fans think he's got, but we're not really seeing it on a regular basis yet.
50 million for Andre Santos is a lot of money. It is a lot of money.
You got dropped by Liam Rosini.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. That really surprises me. And
see, Andre Santos, with no disrespect, Ollie, Andre Santos should be going to Newcastle, not Manchester United, in my opinion.
Well, we need someone, mate. We need someone.
Pairing of Santos and Willock going to take over the mid-table of the Premier League.
Someone bring back Johan Cabaye. That will solve everything. You mentioned Spurs there, Crookie. Obviously, they have had an absolute spree so far. We've already mentioned 85 million on Fernandes, 100 million on Tonali. They've brought in Senesi. They've brought in Jan-Paul van Hecke. Is it the end of the spending, though? How much more money have they got to splash this summer?
I think you'll see at least 2 more big signings. They want a wide player, they want a striker. They're keen on Eli Junior Krupi down at Bournemouth, but the messaging I've got out of Bournemouth so far this summer has been consistent when it comes to both him and Alex Scott. They aren't for sale. We're not going to cash in. We're not going to do what we did last summer and sell off our prize assets. I think in Krupi's case, if either of those players are more likely to agitate for a move, it would be him. I don't necessarily think Alex Scott is that type of character. He's in talks over a new contract with a Anton Semenyo style release clause. But either way, Bournemouth are going to drive a hard bargain. But they definitely want a new number 9. Richarlison, I think, is probably open to departing, and Dominic Solanke had real injury issues last season. But I think the signings they've made already, they may have paid over the odds for Tonali and Fernandes, but they're going to make that team eminently better. And in Roberto De Zerbi, I think they've got a genuinely top-class coach. So I think they're going to be right up there competing, Spurs.
Crookie, I have enjoyed the content coming from you throughout this tournament so much. Every day it seems like you're on another adventure. I very much enjoyed you trying a spicy wing the other day. Has your mouth calmed down since then? I believe you might have drunk about 48 pints of milk to try and counteract that. Can you take us through that experience?
Well, yeah, I drank 48 pints of something. I'm not necessarily sure it was milk. But anyway.
It's about 12 gallons for our American,
back to the spicy
our American fans.
Yeah, I've been well oiled with the American beer, that is for sure. Yeah, it was horrendous. Do you know what? If you saw the video, the first bite, there's a sort of quiet confidence in my face. I've got this. This is easy. And then when Andy Goldstein bullied me into putting the whole chicken bite into my mouth, that was like an explosion. But my big question, Will, you're very into your American culture, you spend a lot of time here. Why is that even on the menu? Do people order that for pleasure? I mean, what is that all about?
They love a food challenge. We've all seen Man versus Food and stuff like that. But they like, you kind of like a 72-pound steak, ounce steak. No, 72 pounds would be madness. But 72-ounce steaks and 110-ounce steaks and all this nonsense, they absolutely love. Everything is bigger, as you well know.
See, I don't mind that.
Yeah, well, let's get you doing that then. Before you leave.
Texas.
A little 100-ounce steak
Texas.
challenge. I think, come on, we've got to make it happen. Producer Ryan, I know you're listening. Let's get Crookie trying to eat like 20 pounds of beef in one sitting.
Well, one thing I do want to ask you about quickly, you're going to turn from Alex Crook to Alex Croc, I believe, very soon, because you're going on an alligator tour.
Oh. I am. We're flying off to Miami tonight. We've got the drive show live from South Beach tomorrow. Very excited about that. They're excited about my sea swim in Miami. And then, we're off to the Everglades. Now, this reference has been lost on all the young people at talkSPORT, but I think Will's going to get it, right?
Thanks, mate.
The reason I'm excited about going to Miami, well, two reasons. Police Academy 5, set in Miami, is one of my favourite films of all time, but also Miami Twice, the Only Fools and Horses Christmas special, when they went to the Everglades. That is why I'm excited. I'm going to try and be Del Boy, and I tell you what, you should see the outfit that I brought from a vintage shop here in New York. If you think my cowboy hat and shirt were loud, wait until you see what I've got in store in Miami.
I've never heard anyone in my life say that Police Academy 5 is the greatest, their favourite films. That is astonishing stuff from you, as is everything. The wonderful Alex Crook.
Oh, Crook.
Go see if you can get your big ball off Cafu instead of your tiny little one. If people don't know what we're talking about, go and check out that video as well. He's done wonderful work out there. And look, we've got games back tonight. Forget that day off. France-Morocco tonight live on talkSPORT. Tomorrow we'll be reacting to that in a massive way on the show. It's going to be Ollie and Master back joining us live from the US. And then 3 more huge quarterfinals over the weekend. We're here every day, 8 a.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, live on SiriusXM FC. So join us here at the S Word, sponsored by Calci.
From kickoff to the full-time whistle, talkSPORT presents the S Word.